I spent 3 years learning business the hard way, making mistakes, spending a ton of money, and second-guessing everything. And if I had understood these 5 truths from the start, going from 6 figures in debt to making multiple millions would have been so much easier. I'm an entrepreneur and business mentor helping hundreds of people grow profitable 6-figure online businesses in 90 days or less. And I see people struggle not because they aren't working hard, but because they're making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And so in this video, I'm going to share everything I wish I knew back when I first started my online business. Most people never figure this stuff out and end up quitting way too soon. But once you understand these 5 truths, you'll skip all of the trial and error and start seeing real progress right away. Truth number 1. In 1994, Jeff Bezos faced a decision that could have completely changed the course of his entire life. Stay at his high-paying, stable job as a vice president of a top investment firm in a New York City, or leave everything behind and dive into a huge unknown and start an online bookstore.
I went to my boss and said to him, you know, I'm going to go do this crazy thing, and I'm going to start this this company selling books online. He said, you know, this actually sounds like a really good idea to me. But it sounds like it would be a better idea for somebody who didn't already have a good job.
It definitely wasn't an easy choice to make, but his trick was to ask himself a really simple question. When I'm 80, will I regret not trying? And this became what he called his regret minimization framework.
I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. And so when I thought about it that way, it was an incredibly easy decision.
So he left his job, moved across the country to Seattle, and started a company called 𝐷𝐷𝐷, which soon became Amazon. Today, Amazon is the largest e-commerce company in the world, worth over $1.5 trillion. But none of this would have happened if Bezos fell into the trap of indecision. We're all faced with big decisions in life. Should I change jobs? Should I buy a house and stop renting? Move to a new city? Or start this new business idea of mine? But the problem is, most of us hesitate. We spend months researching different career options, overanalyze our finances, procrastinate over the moving logistics, and wait until the perfect business idea. But here's the truth. Indecision is still a decision, and it's always the wrong one. Deciding not to decide is an active choice to do nothing. It's a choice not to move your business forward, and it kills momentum. So even though it feels safer not to decide, and we tell ourselves, oh, it's no big deal, or oh, I'll sleep on it and think about it another time, indecision is a lot more harmful than we think. And this hesitation and self-doubt is ultimately rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear from others, fear of the unknown. It's a safety mechanism, which, yes, is sometimes a good thing, but when fear is holding you back from making decisions, you're never going to make any real progress in your business. So, to succeed as an entrepreneur, you need to learn how to make decisions quickly. Successful people like Jeff Bezos don't always make the right decisions, but they make them fast, they move forward even when they feel uncertain, and adjust along the way. The more decisions you make, and the more you push through the feeling of discomfort, the more confident you'll become when faced with big choices. So try setting yourself a 48-hour deadline for making tough decisions, and use Jeff Bezos' regret minimization framework to help guide your decisions. Ask yourself, when I'm 80, will I regret not trying? If the answer is yes or maybe, don't hesitate, do it. And if no, just move on to something else. As Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The only way to guarantee failure is by never taking the shot in the first place, or by not deciding. So my first piece of advice is just take it, because you can always figure out the rest later. Truth number 2, when we start something new or make major changes in our lives, we go through a roller coaster of emotions. It could be a new fitness routine, a new job, or launching a new business idea. The feelings are universal. In 1979, 2 psychologists, Don Kelly and Daryl Conner, came up with a framework to explain what's happening. They call it the emotional cycle of change. The first phase is uninformed optimism, and it's a classic honeymoon phase. Everything feels exciting. You're super excited. You're convinced success will be easy and ready to take on the world. The second phase is informed pessimism. This is a bit of a reality check. The excitement fades, the challenges start piling up, progress is slower than expected, doubt creeps in, and you start wondering if it was all a mistake. And then you hit the valley of despair. This is rock bottom. You've put in the time and effort, and you just aren't seeing results. Giving up feels like the only option. And so most people quit at this point. Stage 4, if you push through, is called informed optimism. Things start to make sense. You're learning what works, adjusting, and seeing small wins. Sure, it's still hard, but now you know you can handle it. And finally, success and fulfillment. This is the last stage. This is where you reap all of the benefits of pushing through, and all of the struggle feels totally worth it. Now, the problem is, for most people, never make it through the valley of despair. Instead, they stay stuck cycling between uninformed optimism and informed pessimism. And they jump from one new idea to the next, never fully committing to something for a long enough period to actually see success. This is what's called shiny object syndrome, and it holds a lot of entrepreneurs back. Shiny object syndrome is when you constantly chase new ideas and opportunities, the shiny objects, that appear more exciting than what you're actually working on. It's the classic grass is always greener mindset, always looking for something better, but never really finding it. And the reality in business is that most people don't fail because their ideas are bad. They fail because they actually give up way too soon. If you don't give something enough time to develop, you miss out on crucial feedback that you'll definitely need to help your business grow and get better. So instead of chasing the next shiny thing, commit to your idea for at least 90 days before deciding whether to pivot or stay on the same course. And in those 90 days, focus on executing at a top level, giving it your all, collecting data and iterating. Not just brainstorming the next better idea. Because remember, success isn't about finding the perfect idea, it's about consistency and sticking with what you started with, even when it gets tough. Truth number 3. One of the biggest lessons I learned from my mentor is that failure is like a river. Every successful person you admire has been through it. And there's only one way to reach the ocean of success. You have to go through the river first, with all of its twists and turns. But the problem is that most people don't have enough failure tolerance to stay in the river long enough to succeed. The moment things actually get hard, they panic, they swim back, they turn to safety. And we've been conditioned since childhood to avoid failure. Get straight A's at school, get into a top college, follow the perfect career path, and never screw up. Our brains are conditioned to fear it. And if you want to make it in business, reach 7, 8, even 9 figures in annual revenue, you have to embrace the discomfort of failure and keep swimming through the river. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent, it's persistence. And the most successful people don't fear failure. In fact, they've failed more times than they've succeeded. And that's because they use it as feedback to make changes and get better. So you need to get victory over fear of failure and make friends with the enemy. I like to do it this way, by reframing what failure means to me. It's not a bad thing. Failure is simply a result that didn't meet my expectations. I'll never forget the first time I launched an offer and crickets. Not a single person signed up. I had spent weeks, months building it. I wrote every email, designed the pages, showed up on Instagram with my big Beyonce energy. I was so convinced this thing was gonna be my thing. And then the deadline passed and my inbox was totally empty. And it stung. And I questioned everything, my niche, my skills, even whether I was meant to be a coach at all. But once I got through that initial wave of disappointment, I realized something really important. This wasn't a sign to quit. It was an invitation to get curious. Why didn't it land? Was I speaking to the right people? Was the offer clear? Did they understand the value? And I started asking better questions. I talked to my audience. I listened more. And that failed launch became the blueprint for the next one, which actually worked. So no, it wasn't fun, but it was formative. Sometimes failure isn't failure, it's just the first draft of your breakthrough. When you view failure as a neutral result like this and don't get caught up in all of your negative emotions, you'll always move forward. And by overcoming this fear, you'll also avoid the biggest failure of them all, not even trying. like we talked about before, not deciding. So many people have brilliant ideas, but they never take action. They're too afraid of what might happen or whether they're going to be ready. But the truth is, waiting until you're ready is just your brain trying to keep you safe from the discomfort of failure. It's a way to keep you stuck. So the next time your brain tries to talk you out of taking action, jump in the river, start swimming, and trust that it will take you exactly where you're meant to go. Truth number 4. I've worked with a lot of health coaches and I hear the same thing. Valerie, no one's really going to pay for health coaching. And every time I hear this, I just think to myself, are you serious? Health is one of the most important aspects of someone's life. Without good health, you can't fully live. You can't enjoy hobbies. You can't even spend quality time with the people you love. So here's what I tell my clients. If you have a solution to someone's problems, you have a moral obligation to them to make sure they know about it. We all only have one body, and it's up to us to take care of it. This is the level of conviction that you need in any successful business. Because at the end of the day, business is about solving real problems that people are desperate to fix. And when people hesitate to buy, it's because they don't see the true value of your offer. That's why you need to be 100% certain that your business, whatever it is that you sell, will completely transform someone's life. And you need to believe in it with total conviction. For me, everything changed when I realized I had an amazing offer and I believed in it with everything I had. It wasn't just about the product, it was about having unshakable confidence in what I was offering. The confidence led me to reach out to more people, make more offers, and have higher prices because I knew the solution was exactly what they needed. It then won't feel like, hey, I'm selling. It'll just feel like you're offering the cure to the problem they didn't even know they had. So here's what I want you to do right after watching this video, or you can pause the video and you can do it right now. Get crystal clear on your exact problem your business is solving and what solution your clients are actually wanting. What solution do your customers actually want? Then craft one signature offer that you can actually stand behind with total conviction. If you can't do that, it's time to refine your offer until you're 100% sure it will actually make massive difference in someone's life. Truth number 5. Building a multi-million-dollar business is a lot like running a marathon. Sure, you can buy the fancy gear, the best shoes, but everyone who runs those 26.2 miles will tell you that there are definitely no shortcuts. No one will just hand you the finish line. You have to earn it step by step by putting one foot in front of the other. And think about it. If you don't actually put in all of the hard miles into that training, would crossing the finish line even feel worthwhile? Growing a multi-million-dollar business is no different. It's about the daily grind, the setbacks, the failures, the challenges, the sacrifices that made the journey worth it in the end. But all of this happens behind the scenes, and we often forget that overnight success is a total myth. If we look at Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and the other top entrepreneurs thinking they made it overnight, well, the reality is we didn't see all of the years of hard work that went into building those empires. So remember, the long way is the shortcut. And business success will mean far more if you're willing to put in the work. To figure this out for yourself, try asking yourself these questions. Number 1, would I still want this business if it took me 10 years longer to build? Number 2, would I still commit to it if I had to put in 10 times the effort? Number 3, would I be willing to invest more time than I thought possible to make it successful? If you can answer yes to all of those questions, you're on the right path. But if not, it might be time to rethink why you're even doing this. Success doesn't come from comfort, it comes from hard work. And you need to want the grind if you're ever gonna make it. If you wanna know exactly how I went from feeling stuck, making $60,000 a year and waiting for the perfect time to start my own thing, to creating a multi-million-dollar business that lets me live my life on my own terms, go ahead and check out this video over here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.